Well, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to Therapeutic Edge. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are having a great day. If you've been watching the videos this week, you'll know that this is collection update week. These are not knives that you are likely going to run right out and find. But I've decided to sort of reapply my energy towards my own collection, and I hope that I get to share that with you guys, and I hope that's interesting for you. This is a Begg Design Steelcraft knife made by We. The other one that you saw on Monday was made by Riot. This one's made by We. This is the Glimpse 7.0. This is a big knife, really thick, comfortable. This, of course, is a factory version of one of his customs. Now, the customs are very expensive. These were back at the day when these came out, what, 7 or 8 years ago, these were, I think $300, $200 or $300, which back then was a lot of money. Now you can find these used for about $400. I just love these. I love the one I just showed you a second ago. I love stuff like this. This is really interesting in a lot of ways too, and let's get to what that is. So it is S35 VN. It is G10 scales with inlaid carbon fiber and then sanded completely smooth. You can see the line here, right? But you can't feel it. I mean, it's just married into the G10. It may even be a layer of the G10, but I don't see the layers here. So I think that this is inset and then, yeah, and then just sanded smooth as hell. It's really nice. Got a huge lanyard space in the back. Now this back spacer is really shiny. It's titanium. It's polished high, as is the lock bar on this. As you can see, this is a liner lock. It's IKBS bearings. As I said, it's S35 VN. The blade is just gorgeous, right? It's got this lovely swedge across the top. This is all milled out. Now, this, of course, is just a place for crap to build up. I get that, but I like it. I love that it's black. I think it's very cool looking. The choil here is oddly shaped, but big enough for your finger to get into, which is really nice, right? You are up against that sharp edge. You're going to want to be careful if your hand's any bigger than mine, but you can do it. But it's not really designed to get your thumb up here. It's kind of sharp, but this thing is fantastic for draw cuts. There's enough belly here to use this, and it's hollow ground, by the way. Look at the way this is chamfered back here. The crown spine, I mean, it's just beautiful. Everything on this knife is smooth, comfortable. The lock bar has jimping on it that's aggressive but not bitey so. The milling on the carbon fiber show side here is lovely, but that's kind of his thing, right? Todd Begg designed really cool knives. Now, because this is IKBS, I don't know for sure. I had the same conversation with the other one. Now, the other IKBS knives that I had from him actually had loose bearings inside the races and in a groove in the blade, which, like the Field Marshal is like that, the Steelcraft Field Marshal. If you take that blade off, those bearings are just sitting inside a spot in the blade, which means I do not want to take this apart. I would if I had to, but it would not be my first choice because I have lost those little things before, and that sucks. As I said, this is titanium, and there's a full-size titanium liner on both. Well, not full-size, but it's here. Let's see if we can get that to show up. Let's make that a little dimmer. There we go. You see that in there? It's got inset liners, titanium liners on both sides, which is just very cool. And you can see that backspacer in there, right? It's very shiny, very cool. This thing makes me silly happy. He had one of the mid-tech versions, my buddy that I got this from, but that was $800, $700. That's more money and more trade than I had to do. So I'll take the Steelcraft edition and be happy. So let's take a look at what you get. You get about 3.5 inches of cutting on 3 3/4 inches of S35 VN. The grip area from behind this noticeably enormous flipper, let's just be honest, comes in to here, So it's basically 3 fingers and then your pinky is back here. But because this is so comfortable, I don't have any issues with that at all. It's a really nice handful of knife. But anyway, so to the tail all the way back here, we're looking at 4 1/4, right? But, you know, so it's, call it 4 inches of usable handle because of the way it's shaped, right? Very, very pokey blade. Because of this swedge up here at the top, right? This thing comes to a really, really fine tip. Now, it means you don't want to be prying with it, but don't pry with your knives anyway. But if you needed to give something a poke, this would absolutely do a great job. The shape of the knife lends itself to multiple grips, reverse hammer, standard forward hammer, you know, like this for draw cuts. And again, it's not sharp up here, but you know, when you're putting pressure, you definitely feel it. But you can do it absolutely. And again, the sharpening choil, which comes to this lovely terminus at the back of this sort of short plunge, you can get your finger up in there if you want to, almost trigger style, which is really nice. The action on this thing is wonderful. It is absolutely dead centered. This knife is at least 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, and it is still in phenomenal shape. The pocket clip, now, much like the Quaken that I showed you guys on Monday, this has one of those ceramic ball sort of detents that keep this thing in your pocket, and a lot of people don't like that. It's become sort of passé at this point, but I dig it. And the clip placement itself is very cool, right? So, you know, for a knife this big, and it is big, you only got that much knife sticking out of your pocket. It's not too bad. This knife, end to end, is 9 inches, almost dead on, right? It's a 9-inch knife. The closed length on this thing is, what is that, 5 1/4. The pocket profile, yeah, I mean, you're talking about 1 3/4 inches because it's just a big knife. And that I am going to use the magic calipers for this. This is a thick knife. At its thickest back here, it is well over 1/2 inch, or for those of you that run in millimeters, it is just basically 16.8 millimeters. Blade stock on this guy, just shy of 4 millimeters, not bad. Yeah, just shy of 4 millimeters. This is WE doing amazing stuff. I have not really liked a WE knife. I mean, I like their OEM stuff. This is OEM, right? But, you know, I haven't liked just a straight WE knife in quite some time. This is back when I think knife companies were a little more fearless. I have friends that are working with OEMs all over the place now, and getting these OEM companies to do sort of this more radical stuff is really difficult. They'd much rather make stuff that they know has like an available market for it. So making stuff that pushes the envelope like this takes a fair amount of effort from both the designer and a push on the knife company. Here it is against the PM2, just for size comparisons. Let's line those blades up on the line. You get a lot more cutting on the Glimpse 7.0 than you do on the PM2, and of course it's considerably bigger. Here it is against my old friend, the Chavez 229. This is a Riot-made OEM knife. As you can see, the Glimpse 7.0 is considerably bigger. Let's move that up so that you get a better look at it. Right? Yeah, the Glimpse is a big knife. Here it is against the knife from earlier this week. This is the Begg-designed Quaken, the Sun Tzu edition. Quaken's a little bit longer, but these are both big knives. Now, I am curious to how much this thing weighs. Between the carbon fiber and the G10, well, let's find out. As I said, it is a full 9-inch knife, so let's find out. Yep, 5.5. It is a 1/2 ounce heavier than the Quaken, and a little bit lighter, actually, than the gripper. Cool. So we're doing that. By way of comparison, My PM2 here with the titanium backspacer comes in at 4.1 ounces, right? So if you're looking for that ounce per inch weight, this is not a knife for you. These are out there. There were a couple of these on eBay when I looked the other day. But unfortunately, that's just about the only place you're going to find them at this point. I love stuff like this. And since it's Friday, I can bring it back and stuff like this. It isn't necessarily because they're big. I showed this earlier when I was doing this video. I love this little guy. I really do, right? This is the Thick Boy from EMP Knives, EMP EDC Knives. It's just interesting. It is. And that motivates my collection. That's why this is here. And these are here. You know? If I just need a knife that's a cutting tool, something like the Bug Out is perfect. It is. It's a fantastic knife. I would be more inclined to carry another thing that you saw on Wednesday, which is this S90V, and very comfortable and very slicey. It's got lots of belly. Over a Bug Out, just because I like the feel of it in my hand. But if you just need a knife, you're covered. I mean, really, you're covered. And if you don't want to spend this kind of money, right, there's just an endless supply of just knives. Interesting, sure, cool, sure, but basically just cutting tools. But if you're like me and you collect knives because the art and the design and all of that comes together to make them functional art, really functional art, then there's stuff like this. It's not just a cutting tool anymore. It's something else. And that's where we're going to wrap it up for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the sort of collection update. We'll get back to doing the newest and the brightest and the shiniest next week. Keep your eyes open. I've got a whole bunch of the really cool stuff from Rosecraft Blades. I've got some stuff from Damn Design that came in. That's sort of re-editions of stuff that he's already done. Yeah, we've got cool stuff. But in the meantime, these are going to go into my collection, and I get to carry them and enjoy them. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Begg Knives Steelcraft Glimpse 7.0 from a number of years ago. I know I'm excited to have it in the collection. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll see you next time.